Imagine picking up a phone that folds in half like a piece of paper, but when you open it, the screen is as smooth as a mirror. For years, we've just accepted that the crease is the price we pay for living in the future. We've trained our brains to ignore that annoying dip in the middle of our displays. But that is about to change forever. Samsung just pulled off a magic trick that nobody saw coming, and it's going to make you rethink every phone purchase you were planning this year. If you've been waiting for the moment foldables finally become perfect, this is it. You know that feeling when you first pick up a foldable phone? Even before the screen lights up, your thumb instinctively glides over the center. You're looking for that groove. It's almost muscle memory at this point. We've all just kind of accepted that a valley in the middle of the screen is the admission fee for a folding device. But imagine opening a foldable, tilting it under harsh overhead lights, and seeing absolutely nothing. No distortion, no valley, just a perfectly flat sheet of glass. This isn't just a concept anymore. It is real, and it is the massive trick Samsung quietly pulled off at CES 2026. While everyone else was distracted by flashy AI demos and transparent TVs, Samsung had two phones sitting side by side on the show floor. One was the Galaxy Z Fold we all know, complete with that familiar groove. The other looked identical on the outside, but when you opened it, the screen was completely smooth. I'm talking smooth to the point where if you didn't know it folded, you wouldn't believe it could. And the craziest part? This wasn't locked behind glass. It was a working prototype. Strong evidence suggests this is the exact panel technology heading straight for the Galaxy Z Fold 8. And honestly, if this is accurate, it changes the entire conversation around foldables. Let's be real for a second. The Crease has been the biggest, but in every foldable review for the last 5 years. It's great, but the Crease. You get used to it, but it's there. If Samsung has truly solved the physics of the folding radius to eliminate that visible dip, they aren't just updating a phone. They're removing the biggest psychological barrier for millions of buyers. Reports indicate that this new panel doesn't just reduce the crease, it effectively erases it from casual view. Reflections don't warp across the middle anymore. That creates a level of immersion we simply haven't seen on a Samsung device yet. But here is where the story gets even juicier. Insider chatter suggests this display technology isn't exclusive to Samsung's own lineup. This is reportedly the same panel tech they are supplying for Apple's first foldable. Think about that for a second. Samsung is essentially stress testing the technology that will power their biggest rival's debut. It tells us that the industry has finally hit a maturity point where hardware compromises are vanishing. If you've been holding off on a foldable because you couldn't get past that uneven screen, the industry just took away your last excuse. But the screen is just the tip of the iceberg. While we were all hyper-focused on the display, Samsung was busy restructuring their entire release strategy. Historically, we get two phones, a big fold and a small flip. It's been like clockwork. But this year, carrier databases have leaked 3 distinct model numbers. One matches the expected Z Fold 8. One matches the Z Flip 8. But the third one? It's a ghost. It doesn't align with any previous iteration or fan edition variant we've ever seen. Multiple sources now point to this being a completely new category, the wide fold. Think less like a TV remote control and more like a passport. This is huge because one of the biggest complaints about the standard Galaxy Fold series has always been that the cover screen is just too narrow for comfortable typing. If these leaks are accurate, Samsung is finally giving us a shorter, wider book-style foldable that feels like a normal phone when closed and a proper tablet when open. It's a form factor we've seen competitors like Google and OnePlus toy with, but seeing Samsung commit to it signals a massive shift. It suggests they are terrified of Apple's upcoming foldable, which is rumored to use this exact same wider aspect ratio. Samsung isn't waiting to react. They are trying to flood the zone before Apple even steps onto the field. The timing of this triple release is no way silent either. We are hearing strong indications that all 3 of these devices, the Fold 8, the Flip 8, and this mysterious wide fold, will launch simultaneously at a massive unpacked event in July. Usually, companies stagger these things to keep the hype cycle going, but Samsung seems intent on dropping a shock and awe campaign right before iPhone season kicks into high gear. By putting three distinct options on the table, they are effectively trying to corner every possible demographic. Do you prefer the classic narrow fold? They have it. Want a wide passport-style productivity machine? They have that too. Want a tiny pocketable flip? Done. It's a comprehensive wall of defense against whatever Cupertino is cooking up. Now, we need to talk about the weight because the numbers coming out of the supply chain sound almost impossible. The Galaxy Z Fold 8 is rumored to weigh in at just 200 grams. To put that into perspective, the iPhone 17 Pro is expected to tip the scales around 206 grams. Samsung is effectively planning to sell you a device with two screens, a complex mechanical hinge, and a tablet-sized battery that weighs less than a standard slab flagship. That is engineering witchcraft. And they aren't achieving this by shrinking the battery, which would be the easy way out. On the contrary, leaks suggest they are bumping the capacity up to around 5,000 mAh. A lighter phone with a bigger battery usually doesn't happen in the same generation. It implies a fundamental redesign of the internal chassis, possibly using new alloy materials or a completely re-engineered hinge mechanism. If they pull this off, the foldables are too bulky argument is officially dead. And it's not just the Fold getting the diet treatment. The Z Flip 8 is reportedly targeting a weight of just 150 grams. That is featherlight. It's nearly 40 grams lighter than the current model. Earlier leaks were all over the map regarding the Flip, but recent data keeps settling on this 150-gram figure. If that holds true, this will likely be the most pocketable, unobtrusive smartphone on the market, period. The big question mark here naturally is battery life. You can't just cut 40 grams of weight without losing something. We have to wonder if battery density technology has improved enough to compensate, or if the Flip is going to rely heavily on processor efficiency. But seeing these devices already appear in US carrier databases is a very good sign. It means the hardware is finalized. They aren't in the concept phase, they're in the tuning phase for real-world networks. Pricing is the final piece of the puzzle, and it's a bit of a mixed bag. The good news is that early info suggests the standard Z Fold 8 and Z Flip 8 will hold the line on pricing, launching at the same MSRP as their predecessors. Samsung knows they need to drive adoption, and hiking prices right now would be suicide. However, that new wide fold is a total wild card. Since it's a new category, Samsung can price it wherever they want. My gut tells me it's going to be positioned as the ultimate premium flagship, probably commanding a higher tag, but offering that perfect aspect ratio enthusiasts have been begging for. When you zoom out and look at the whole picture, this feels different than the last few years of minor spec bumps. We aren't just talking about a faster chip or slightly better cameras. We are looking at a fundamental correction of the foldable concept. Samsung is erasing the crease, fixing the weight, and finally offering the right aspect ratio. They know they can't coast anymore. 2026 is shaping up to be the year where foldables stop being a niche curiosity and start becoming the default choice for power users. The hardware barriers are crumbling. The bulk is gone. The battery anxiety is being addressed. In my opinion, this is the most critical moment for Samsung since the original Fold launched. By fixing the crease and the weight, they are removing the excuses people used to stay with traditional phones. The wide fold, in particular, is the Goldilocks device we've all been waiting for. It's finally a phone that doesn't ask you to compromise. If you like the video, subscribe, share the video, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next big leak. I'll see you in the next one.